Ohayou gozaimasu, konnichiwa, konbanwa, for whenever you're listening to the Joshi Pod, your weekly podcast about the world of Japanese women's wrestling. Joshi Wrestling! I'm your host, Eric Howard, coming to you from beautiful San Diego, California. It's 80 degrees and sunny outside today, living in paradise. And also part of my paradise today, I have on the phone, on the Skype, or whatever you want to call it, JPQ, big paws on a pup. Formerly of no particular angle, retired podcaster, but he does 8 podcasts a week, just not his own anymore. JPQ, welcome to the show.
Hey, man, thanks for having me once again. It's been a minute since you and I. Yeah, this is exciting to be back.
So the main event interview today is with Ron Funches. Are you familiar with Ron?
I am, and the fact that I'm the warm-up act for Ron Funches is terrifying because he's amazing.
You know how I should introduce you? Please welcome to the stage, JPQ!
That's right. Here comes JPQ!
We get some cheesy piano music playing. Play you on.
That hook is coming out immediately.
Give me your best 5 minutes, kid.
I got like 2 in the bank, I think. Maybe one day. We'll see.
So Ron and I talk quite a bit about Stardom. We have an argument about Giulia. And so we thought, what better way to preview the 5-star than is to have JPQ on the podcast today, leading into Ron talking about Stardom. But first, JPQ, 5-star Grand Prix. Before you saw the brackets, did you have an idea who you thought should win this year?
Oh, yeah, of course. I mean, I think coming out of COVID, we were excited. I think we're in a different era of Stardom than we were maybe pre-COVID, a little before with the Bushi Road stuff. I think coming out this break, we really had an opportunity to kind of forge a new path, if you will, with Stardom and everything that's involved with it. And so kind of a fresh slate. We had main event Saki. That was fun for a little while. And now we're going to kind of progress into storylines and see where things go and see how things flesh out. And coming into this 5-star Grand Prix and kind of, especially after we saw some of the new looks and some of the new gear, you kind of start putting in place who your top tier people are. And yeah, I think I had a couple names in mind, and looking at the blocks here, it kind of lines up with my expectations a little bit. Where were your thoughts on it?
Yeah, I had an idea. I thought I know who I would have picked, and who I would have picked still could work. Based on the blocks.
Okay.
So
let's see if we get there.
Yeah, me too. So the 2 blocks, we talked about this real briefly before we went on the air. They don't seem balanced again this year. It seems like the red block to me seems way more stacked at the top, at least. There's probably the blue block is probably more balanced, but the red block has the top a higher tier talent at the top of it.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I think last year you had the same, to your point. Last year on the blue block, we had B, Priestley, your World of Stardom champion. We had Arisa, your Wonder of Stardom champion. We had Kagetsu, the former world. We had Jungle in there. We had Konami in there. We had Utami in there. Jamie Hayter made her return during the 5-star. The blue block last year was like super, super heavy. And the red block last year, Mayu, Saki, Hazuki, Momo, Hana. There was names, but it wasn't as stacked as the blue block. This year, looking at the blue and red blocks, respectively, same type of thing. The blue block seems pretty heavy, while the red block seems a little thin towards the back half.
Yeah. But the top 2 people are in the red block. The top 2 people in the company. In the red block.
Oh, well, yes, 100%. Actually, I'm sorry. Let me flip that. I said that completely the opposite way. Red block this year is where it's heavy. Blue block is a little on the thinner side.
So it's, I mean, look at the star power missing from last year to this year too. No Jamie, no B, no Hana, no Arisa. So, I mean, the depth just isn't there as far as the top talent, I don't think, this year.
Yeah, I mean, COVID, it's one of those things. We just kind of have to, bite the bullet, so to speak, and just know that it's not going to be what 100% of what we want it to be, and that's okay for this year.
Yeah, everything this year is a grain of salt, or just like I told somebody online the other day, it's like everybody gets a pass this year. Even WWE gets a pass, kind of. AEW gets a pass. Everybody gets a pass because they're making the best out of a bad situation.
Yeah, as long as a fan they feel like they're trying to put on something entertaining, and they're trying to push the envelope a little further with some of the innovative things because of all this quarantine stuff. You got to kind of tip your hat to it and just know that things will kind of the ship will right itself in due time.
Okay, tangent real quick.
Yeah.
WWE, was it they call it Underground?
That was the thing yesterday, yeah.
Thoughts?
I mean, I don't watch WWE, so no. It's look, I know where they got that idea from. It came from Shikara, which is no longer a wrestling promotion, and it was this Crucible thing, and it was led by Ophidian, who was actually on MPA, friend of the show, and that was
great interview, by the way.
Thank you. Yeah, it was a little different with him going back and forth on wrestling, but but he had the idea for the Crucible, and he kind of fleshed that out, and it looks like WWE kind of came in and put their shtick on it. And does it work? Does it not work? I'll tell you this: the one thing about WWE that always seems to work is campy nonsense. Right? They kind of take these serious things and they kind of make them lighthearted, and it's a good kind of bad, if that makes sense. When they're trying to do something great, it's usually bad. But then there's this good kind of bad with things that they're kind of kicking around these ideas and they're kind of playing with it. And although I didn't watch it 100%, I saw some clips online, things like that. It could have been worse. Certainly could have been worse. So, how about you?
I think it's terrible. I think it's garbage. I really do. I think it's just. I don't understand it. I don't buy it. I don't. Yeah.
Mortal Kombat meets Fight Club meets. I don't know, something.
Kumite, whatever you want to,
I guess.
Yeah, I just don't. That's not the wrestling I like. So it's not. If other people like it, so be it. But that's not for me. It's like the whole intergender wrestling argument online right now. Mm-hmm. I'm probably gonna stick my foot in my mouth here, but I don't enjoy intergender wrestling. But it's okay. I don't have to like everything. Other people can like it. I'm not saying they shouldn't do it, but I'm just saying it's not my favorite kind of wrestling.
Sure.
So it's the same as with that kind of stuff. It's like I don't. It's not for me. But if other people like it, wonderful.
I'm a fan of blood sport, but I wouldn't even say this was blood sport. This was more of again, this is like Ernest goes to pro wrestling camp. Yeah.
Ernest goes to Kumite.
Copyright that right now.
We just came up with an idea.
Get him on the phone.
Is he alive?
Probably.
Is it Jim Varney?
That sounds right. Yeah, good pull.
All right, so back to the matter at hand. I love going on tangents. Last night I was talking to my buddy on my baseball podcast called Deep Fryers about the San Diego Padres.
That's right.
And the Padres had their biggest win of the year. We started talking about hamburgers.
1-4.
Yes. Yep. I'll take one of those for sure. But we were ranking the best hamburger chains in San Diego, and we both had Shake Shack #1.
Really? You're a Shake Shack guy.
I'm a Shake Shack guy.
I don't know if I'm a Shake Shack guy.
Five Guys?
I'm sure. Yes. I don't know. I'm weird with burgers because I feel like I can just do them at home. I do them all the time at home.
Mm-hmm.
But I guess if I'm going out, what kind of burger would it be? Yeah, I guess Five Guys is probably the one. That's got to be the one. There's a couple by me. There's a couple, but I don't think anything matches Five Guys.
Yeah, I'm a Shake Shack or In-N-Out. We're lucky here in Cali that we have In-N-Out. So
I think I got Jack in the Box too. I don't know if that's any good, but I know that like they show commercials on the East Coast and they say pretty much like, well, you don't have this. And we're like, why are you showing commercials then?
That's Jack in the Box is what brought up the conversation because when the Padres hit a home run, the next day people get free Jumbo Jacks if they buy a large drink. Yeah, so that's what the impetus for the conversation was the the free Jumbo Jacks because the Padres are hitting a lot of home runs this year.
Nice. I'm a Sixers season ticket holder, and what they do there is if the opposing team player misses 2 free throws in a row, everybody gets a free small Frosty from any participating Wendy's in the greater Philadelphia area. Now, you thought Philly fans were bad for throwing snowballs at Santa. You wait until you're on the free throw line and you got 25,000 drunks just screaming at you because they won a free 94-cent Wendy's chocolate treat the next day. It's ridiculous.
They won't even go get it. They just want the joy of winning it.
Exactly right. No, I can't tell you how many times I've been at games where that's happened. And first of all, the crowd just goes crazy because, it's the small things. And at the same time, I'm sitting there and nobody the next day goes. I've never once went and cashed it in.
So the Padres have played like 10 games. They've hit home runs like 9 of those games. And I've not gone a Jumbo Jack. I've not gone and got my free hamburger from Jack in the Box. My buddy's like, I've gone 4 times already. I'm like, well, good for you.
I feel like we're the problem, right? Because it's just free marketing for them. I mean, here we are on the Joshi Pod talking about Wendy's and Jack in the Box. They succeeded.
Yeah, they won.
Your friend's the only one benefiting.
Yeah. Damn it.
Smart guy.
Yeah. He's going to have the diabetes, though.
The brains of deep fryers.
Yeah. All right. So back at the... let's get off our tangent for a second. If the Philly fans were a wrestler, which of the Stardom wrestlers would they be? Who's the biggest jerk?
The Stardom wrestlers?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I thought I was about to just go New Jack, but
that's too easy.
Yeah, it's too easy.
Who represents Philly?
It's Jungle Kyona. I'll tell you why. One, she's a lovable loser, right? And outside of the Eagles winning one Super Bowl a couple years ago, which was wonderful, and 2008 World Series champions, the Philadelphia Phillies, we don't win a lot, Our 4 teams are good. We're smart sports fans. Like, we know our sports really, really well, and we're passionate about our sports, a lot like Jungle Kyona being passionate about what she does in the ring. It just, sometimes we just fall a little short, especially if you find a Philly fan in Nagoya. So I would say Jungle's probably the most in tune with the Philadelphia Philly fan.
Yeah, Saki Kashima is the Padres, or is the San Diego of Stardom.
Tell me more.
We've never won anything.
Okay.
The time we've been to 2 World Series.
Mm-hmm.
We've played the two of the 3 greatest teams of all time in baseball in the 2 World Series we happened to make. The Yankees and the Tigers.
Sure.
And those, besides like Murderers Row, the 27 Yankees, those are the 2 teams, the 2 greatest teams of all time.
Okay.
And then when we had the Chargers here, we played one of the greatest 49er teams of all time in the Super Bowl and got squashed.
94. Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, that's with like Dion and all those guys on the 49ers.
Steve
and we just,
Young.
Yeah. Jerry Rice.
You got smoked. I mean, they went up like 28-0 on you.
Yeah. So we just don't have a chance. We've gotten to the main event a couple of times, but we've just gotten squashed.
So you set this question up to disrespect me is really what it comes down to.
It just came to me at the end. I thought I had to do it because I was looking at the blocks, and I'm like looking at who's the. But it almost Starlight has not been in the game long enough for me to bury her for not winning a championship. And
she won. She won the future.
That's true.
Mm-hmm. Which, I mean, for where she was when it happened I'm not gonna say it was a big deal, but it was like big to her. It was like big for her character. I will tell you this: Saki's main evented twice and lost twice, just like the San Diego Padres. Yeah.
She lost to Mayu, who's one of the greatest Stardom wrestlers of all time. Who else did she lose to in the main event?
Well, she is part of for the Artist of Stardom Championship. She lost to Giulia and DDM, and she ate the pin.
Yeah. Okay, so that works. You help me prove my point.
Hi, man. I'm a man of facts, and again, you bring up Saki Kashima. Yeah, I got a lot of facts.
All right, so let's start with the blue block. Who can we eliminate right away that's not a contender?
Natsuko Tora. That's my vote.
So we should start like voting people off the island?
We could do it that way, sure. You do not get a rose, Natsuko.
I'm going to take this out of JPQ's hands, and I'm going to get rid of Saki Kashima. Because I know you wouldn't have the heart to do it.
No, I mean, that's why I went Natsuko number 1. Although we should talk about Saki a little bit with regards to the 5-star. Here's the thing. I'm looking for one thing and one thing only from Saki Kashima, and that is to finish top 6. And I think that's reasonable. And the reason I do is because she's got the flash pin card in her back pocket at all times. Right? She's got that ace up her sleeve. She will pull out some big victories. She always does in these 5-stars. Not to mention that she's the only one in this field who was in the original 5-star Grand Prix back in 2012. So, you got a veteran presence with flash pin quality, with 2 main events underneath her belt in 2020, and I'll tell you that she's the leader of Oedo Tai, not because she's the actual leader, but because she's way more interesting than Natsuko. She should have a decent enough showing. She's going to get squashed by the major players, make no mistake about it, but she should find herself on the winning end of a couple interesting matchups that should at least put her in the top 6.
Who do you think she beats?
I think she beats Momo, and I think she beats Shori, and then I think she beats Maika. I think she finishes with 6 points, right where she was last year. I think that's just enough to edge out 2 other people.
I don't see it.
Yeah, I know it's a tough one. It's a tough sell. I realize that.
Yeah, no, that's fine. Yeah, I don't see it. I think she finishes. I think if they're going to have Oedo Tai win matches in this, it's going to be Natsuko who wins the matches.
It's possible. I mean, and no, it makes the most sense that Natsuko goes on and wins more than Saki does. It's just Saki picks up those W's. She's going to win 2 matches that you didn't expect her to win, and that's going to put her at 4. And then she just needs 1 more. It's not unheard of for her to get 6.
Yeah. I'm trying to think. I'm trying to play it out in my head to see how I can think it could happen, but I don't see it. I mean, for your sake, it doesn't make a difference. Yeah. I hope you're right, but so I've eliminated Saki, you've eliminated Natsuko. Who else has no chance, do you think, in the field of the blue block?
Well, Maika, she's future champion, and she's freshly signed out of JTO, so I would hope that we see a good performance out of her. I don't think she's going to be Utami level from a couple years ago, where she's going to come in, not so much as a rookie, but she's going to come in kind of as the new kid on the block, so to speak, of the signees, and just run roughshod over the block. But I do think that we're going to see some very impressive performances from her where she just doesn't get it done, and they're learning experiences that she utilizes as part of DDM moving forward, so that outside of the 5-star Grand Prix, she becomes a better asset to fighting in faction wars and things of that nature. And this is going to be a nice education for her. That's the way I look at that, but there's no way she wins.
Yeah, I agree with that. And I think similarly to Shuri, I think Shuri doesn't have a chance to win, but I think she's going to open eyes and show people how good she really is in singles matches against those top tier people in the group. And I think it's like a coming out performance for her to show how great she is in singles. And she will be among the elite, I think, after the 5-star.
I find her to be fantastic. I think she is my dark horse. So I actually disagree with you in the sense of she's my dark horse to win the blue block.
Good.
She's that good. And I think they're trying to woo her away from Ice Ribbon, as well as every other promotion out there.
Everywhere. Yeah.
She wrestles everywhere. And she will continue to be a freelance. They're not going to sign her, right? You have a better chance of her going to AEW and signing and being with Shida than you do with her signing for Stardom, in my opinion. Mm-hmm. However, she's a name, and she's somebody that really, really helps to fortify the legitimacy of Donna Del Mondo. And so putting her in a position to be able to be, she may not win it, but I guarantee you that going into the last 2 days, she's right there in the thick of it in the top 3.
I agree. No, that I agree with. Yeah, that she'll be in the hunt at the end, but I think just the top stars will be the ones that carry it. All right, so we got 4 left. We've got who's left for you that you don't think has a chance?
Well, it's Azumi. Yeah. She's the only one left, in my opinion, that you can think of. By the way, back with Shuri real quick. Mm-hmm. Her versus Utami on the last night of the 5-star block stage. So just keep that in the back of your head as they begin to kind of figure out the seeding side. So we might see an upset. We might see her take Utami out, there's a lot of intrigue there. But Azumi, for sure. I mean, it's nice that she's high-speed champion and she's best technical wrestler coming out of last year's 5-star Grand Prix. She's got a new look. She's got new gear. And she's won a couple titles up to this point. And so she should feel good about where she is. High-speed champions don't win the 5-star Grand Prix. For that reason alone, she's not going to win. Outside of that, there's just bigger names ahead of her that I think are more due, so to speak, than Azumi taking the 5-star.
So that leaves us three, who we all three are due.
Yeah, you could say it.
You know, Momo, Utami, and Jungle, they're all due for a big win. Who do you think pulls out the win in the blue block between those three, and why?
Yeah, so my brain says Utami Hayashishita. I think for all the reasons, big powerhouse killer. I think last year was her year before she got hurt, at least to win the block, maybe not the whole thing. But my heart says Momo. My true heart says Momo. And it's hard for me to go against Momo Watanabe. I think she has, I think she's got match of the year up to this point with Mayu at the anniversary show. She's going to have another special event at Yokohama, Momo versus Mayu, and I expect that to be just as much of a banger as the one back in January.
A slapper?
It could make it a slapper if that's your term of preference.
I don't know how to use. Somebody had to teach me on Twitter how to use those terms.
Yeah, I don't use slaps. I don't use fucks. I don't use. There's another one. I don't remember. There is one more where I'm just like, I don't use any of those, but I do use banger from time to time. Momo Watanabe here's kind of where I am with her. I don't know what's better. Maybe you can help guide me here, Eric. Is it better off for Momo to start her rise to the red belt right now coming out of the 5-star Grand Prix as the winner, or let everybody else get a turn, either going after Mayu, beating Mayu, having a run? So, for example, does it make more sense for Utami to theoretically take the title off Mayu after winning the 5-star Grand Prix and have her run, or her first championship run with that title, and then later down the line give Momo her first and let her establish herself as like this big grandiose champion, leader of Queen's Quest, all this type of stuff? Or do we give Momo the championship right now and let her establish all that and sit on Utami for a while, right? And that's kind of where I keep going back and forth. And I think I'd rather have this, because in my mind, Momo gets the longer run of the two. Which one first, which one second? It's where I fall on that line any given day is kind of who I think is going to come out of the blue block.
See, I think Momo's winning the blue block.
Good.
But my stupid San Diego heart, sucker heart,
say it,
is going to pick Jungle to win the block.
Goddamn right you are.
And I'm a goddamn sucker for it.
You're a beautiful man. That's what. But
I'll do it. I'll do it.
Mm-hmm.
So I want Jungle to win. I really, really want Jungle to win the block, but I think Momo wins the block because I think Momo, she needs something. She needs something to keep her going there. Utami's on the rise, Jungle's hanging on, but I think Momo is the best wrestler in that block, and I think she needs to win the most of the people in the block. But I'm gonna pick Jungle. Fuck it.
Nice for you. Good for you. Here's where I stand. Momo versus Jungle on the last night of the 5-star block stage. Utami versus Shuri on the last night of the blue block stage. And then Natsuko versus Saki. Maybe for leadership of Oedo Tai. Maybe for more points than the other person on the last night.
Time limit draw.
Yeah, TLD, baby. But I think you're right. I think between Momo, Utami, Jungle, that's probably where your winner's coming from. I'm a big Jungle fan, and I got on my pedal, and I very rarely make grandiose predictions about who's going to win outside of Saki Kashima, about who's going to win certain matches. And I was really big on Jungle beating Mayu in Nagoya a couple weeks ago. And I made that literally right when they came back and announced it. It was like, she's going to win. She's going to do this. And then literally every single day, it was like, there's no way she wins this. Right.
Yeah.
And so it's like, and I knew I was speaking with emotions when I said it, and I knew I wanted to believe it. And then it's just the reality just hits you in the face as the days progress. And that's kind of where I am with Jungle right now. She doesn't need a 5-star W. In fact, I don't want her to be another bridesmaid. Not back to back. I appreciate the win, and if she wins the blue block, that's a big step for her, especially with her history and always being the underdog. So for her to get any type of accolade where she's the winner of something, even if it's just to get to a final, I'm in support of it. But I just don't think this is the year. Number one, I think it teases a lot of emotions and a lot of fans that they've already played off of once, and I get why they were in Nagoya. They had that planned before COVID hit. So it's not like they were doing anything outside of school or taking advantage of any type of situation. It was circumstance more than anything else. And then you're going to double down on the 5-star, and you're going to do that again to the fans, because every time Jungle loses, the fans, it just hurts a little bit more, And I don't think you can keep going back to that well. It's such a crazy quick interval. So I think the heartbreak happens in the block stage, and your champion comes out from either Momo or Tommy.
Yeah, I'm going to go. I mean, I've changed my mind. I'm all in on Jungle. I'm all in.
Hell yeah. Good for you.
She's the winner of the blue block.
Good. Now, tomorrow when you wake up, that's all going to come back. When
I remember I'm a San Diego fan. Yeah. Yeah,
for sure.
But yeah, I'm all in on Jungle in the blue. She's going to the finals.
Yeah.
And now we take a look at the red bracket. Red block. How come it's so hard to say block? I don't know. The red block. So I think half of them can be eliminated right away, right? Sure.
Yeah. Same as in the blue block.
Yeah. So let's key in on the top 4. Anybody in the bottom 4 who I think universally we all believe the bottom 4. Anybody you think can surprise and sneak a few W's in?
Yes, of course. Actually, my dark horse is in the bottom 4. I think Himeka has a fantastic opportunity. I would not be surprised. Let's put it this way. I would not be surprised if Himeka finished top 3.
I would love that.
How about that? Here's why. I think size is important. I think she's got more idol in her than monster, if that makes sense. Mm-hmm. She's more new school than she is old school, although she looks more old school than she is new school, if that makes, to kind of play off that. With that said, we don't really know what we have with her. And what she's shown us has been much more than she showed us when she was part of Actress Girls. So riding that momentum, you really do have where Micah doesn't have it. You really do have an opportunity to have an Utami type of performance in the red block, where she picks up some pretty key victories against some people that we didn't expect, that really pushes her into that next level of competitor. Being part of DDM allows for that type of believability, not to mention most people don't know what her work rate is. So you really have an opportunity to flip the script and put her in a higher position than what we think of right now, because of the lack of eyes on her over the years. Mm-hmm. Very, very interesting situation with Himeka. With the way they're pushing DDM, I would not be surprised.
See, I think she beats Starlight and Saya and Yamasan. I think she beats all those and probably finishes at 5th.
Yeah.
Probably tied for 4th, something like that, maybe.
I gotta imagine she's going to pick up at least one win. So again, if she finishes with 8 points, that's a huge deal. Mm-hmm. She would need to pick up a victory over Mayu, Giulia, Tam, or Konami. I think she does.
I think she could beat Tam.
I think she could beat Tam. I think she could beat Giulia. I think that would be a fun one.
Be interesting. It's funny. I didn't realize that I saw Himeka when I was in Japan in March. I was scrolling through my pictures from a YMZ show that I went. Yeah, YMZ show that I went to. Mm-hmm. And I was like, wait a minute, that's Himeka.
I know her.
Yeah, it's like I thought I saw her before. Yeah, so yeah, it's pretty funny that I happened to see her. But yeah, so we've got our top 4: Mayu, Giulia, Tam, and Konami. What does your heart say? What does your mind say?
They both fall in the same place this time, and I think it's going to be Konami. I think Konami all finals, is a thing that needs to continue. I think Konami isn't one of those people that is going to get any type of significant push anytime soon because of the depth in your main event scene as well as your upper mid-card Wonder of Stardom Championship scene. Because of that, you got to keep her relevant somehow. She's got this momentum from last year where she found herself in the finals. She found herself, or in the Cinderella. She found herself in the finals of the 5-star. She found herself in the finals of the Cinderella this year. Now you have an opportunity for her to do the same in the 5-star, and with Giulia beating up Mayu and Tam beating up Giulia and everything in between, this is a perfect opportunity either for a time limit draw or a double DQ or something where Konami, just like last year, comes in and just sneaks out that victory on the last night, and she finds herself in the finals. Will she win it or not? I don't think so, but I think it's a nice little story to tell, keep her relevant in a time where you have a lot of uncertainty with where you're going to put her with regards to the red belt or white belt.
See, I'm a sentimental booger myself, so I was going to pick Konami to win the red block as well.
Yeah.
I think that, we got double DQs with Giulia and Tam.
Sure.
And then Mayu doesn't need to win anything right now. She's fine.
No, although Mayu, Giulia on the first night. Ooh.
Right?
World versus Wonder, baby.
That's what they went like first night. I'm like, oh, they're going strong. They're going strong night one.
Yeah, they are. I mean, the card is tremendous for night one. Utami versus Kiona. We got a rematch of last year. What?
Yeah. Yeah. All right, so you have Konami and you have Utami, right?
I have Momo.
I'm sorry, Momo. Yeah, my fault. So you have Konami and Momo in the finals. Sell me on who wins.
Well, it's Momo. I think it's Momo. I think Konami's win is winning the red block with the likes of your World and your Wonder involved, right? I think for her to be able to get past them on a points basis tournament and continue her route to the finals, I think is her W. Momo needs this accolade. Now, will she use this to cash in? I'm using air quotes there on the podcast. Beautiful. Will she use it to cash in and win the World of Stardom Championship? I'm going to have to see what the landscape looks like coming out of this, right? We know some things. We know Shuri gets a shot at the title right in the middle of the 5-star. Do we really expect Mayu to drop the title in the middle of the 5-star to a freelance? No. So what is the momentum coming out of this? What makes sense on a shortened year? Do we wait for that championship to happen at year end? Do we wait or do we pull the trigger? Do we have a swerve? And does she go after the Wonder, right? And keep Utami in the title picture with Mayu moving forward? There's so many question marks. But for me, you have more answers to questions with Momo winning than you do with Konami. I think if Konami wins, you find yourself in a Shuri situation where it's like, Konami's not beating Mayu. That's just not going to happen. But we have Momo in the match of the year at the anniversary show. We have Momo versus Mayu in Yokohama. And then we have Momo versus Mayu maybe year end, maybe towards year end, where again we like to see that title switch before year end sometimes. Just like Mayu won it last year, and B won it. B won it middle of the summer. You have an opportunity. They're going to have a callback in Yokohama, and then you can have the red belt championship match later in the year. That makes a lot of sense to me from a program aspect over the course of the year. That's what I would like to see.
So I've got Konami and Jungle in the final.
Wait, that's the same. Okay. So you got TCS.
Yes, in the finals on the anniversary of Hana's victory last September.
Love it.
And again, I'm a softie.
Hey man, I think it's a good one I think it's a good story to tell.
And I think Konami wins the 5-star this year.
Wow, Jungle's gonna.
I think she gets the win, and I think it softens the blow of Jungle losing with her friend and stablemate winning.
Mm-hmm.
And they do the whole Hana, I'm going to do my own air quotes now, Hana tribute, the unofficial Hana tribute there with the loving memory, whatever you want to call it, the callback to Hana at the finals. And I think we see a new leader of Tokyo Cyber Squad show up as well.
Would she be somebody that just left the Western side and found herself back?
I think pirate ship can get there between now and September.
Well, who doesn't love pirates?
Yeah. So, but I do think that it's going to be, even though Jungle loses, it's going to be a feel-good story at the end with Tokyo Cyber Squad coming out stronger than ever and actually being main eventers, actually being legit main eventers. Konami's a legit main eventer, and they will have a leader to help those three take it to the next level, something they've been missing since we lost Hana.
Yeah, I like that. I think that would be a good story to tell. I'm secretly still rooting for Kairi to come back. I told her, I think I wrote this on Twitter. I want her to make one stop at Sunday Girls on her way back, just to get another just to get another Mako match in. Just one more. Give me one more, and then.
Oh, I'd like to see her against Maya Kihi and all those. If you just make a one trip around go to Ichigaya one time.
Could you imagine Kairi versus May?
Yeah.
What? Oh, that would be so much fun. It would be a lot of fun if she came. I think I said that. I think she comes back and takes over Oz, and then she flips Oz into WWE Japan or some shit like that. I was screwing around, and people are like, "No," and I'm like, "Well, obviously, no, we don't want that. Nobody wants that." But it would be cool to see her do a tour. I would love to see her do a tour of Joshi prior to going back to Stardom. I don't think that would happen. Although I would kind of like to see Kairi with Oedo Tai. You don't have a leader right now, and you bring back a quote unquote evil Kairi, right? And I say that tongue in cheek because there is no such thing as an evil Kairi. But she's trying to be evil, which I think fits the dynamic of what Oedo Tai is right now. And I think that would be a fun way because she would still be serious in the ring and she would still punish people, but she would do it with a smile and this craziness to her. And I think that would be a fun dynamic to play off, especially with her lieutenant next to her, Saki Kashima.
Well, her act.
Oh, there you go.
Or act in WWE, because she paid homage, I'll say it that way, to act in the WWE. So I think that works in the WWE, but I'm not sure people would buy. Act is so long ago, and so many different fans have changed since then. So it's hard to say. But no, I would like to see her take over Tokyo Cyber Squad and help those two become the top champions in the company.
Yeah, I think that would be cool. I'm totally down for that story.
So I got Konami. You've got
Momo,
which means Utami's going to win.
That's always, and you know what? And I'm cool with that too.
Me too.
Utami, man, are they really pushing her? Right? The high Utamis every morning from We Are Stardom. We have the blonde. She was the one that was pretty much promoting. She was the face of the Yokohama introduction videos, so that's huge for her. She's a powerhouse. She looks amazing. And I've said this on multiple shows. It's fantastic the way she's been able to she really could transcend the game, because I was joking before with the kind of the new school, old school kind of vibe, but she really is finding a very nice balance of that old school kind of Joshi AJW body, right?
Mm-hmm.
With the new school idol type of look, and she's blending those two ideals very, very nicely right now, and that just means star power right through the roof.
Yeah, she's got the thick thighs like the All Japan woman did. I mean, I'll say it out loud.
Yeah.
She's got that body type where she's got the thicker thighs, and she's a killer, and she's got and she's got a glamorous look now too. So, and she's staying healthy. That was one of the big things holding her back too, is staying healthy. So far, knock on wood, she can survive this 5-star and come out a star.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, it's superstar.
Yeah, but somebody's gonna get hurt, and they'll have to rewrite everything and do it all over, however they're gonna decide to do it. So our whole predictions were for naught.
Yeah. What about the award size? Or the award side? Who do you have winning Fighting Spirit?
I will go Shuri.
I like that. I like that a lot, actually. I think that's a good one.
Who do you have?
I'm going to go Himika because of the type of run that she's going to have, in my opinion. I think she's going to get 6 to 8 points, but I think it's going to be a very compelling 6 to 8 points. I think that's going to put her in fighting spirit range.
Mm-hmm.
What about most outstanding wrestler?
Momo.
Nice. It's a good pick.
I think she's going to have the best matches across the board.
Mm-hmm. Yep. I'm actually in full agreement with that as well.
Because she has the right people in her block, too, to have really good matches with.
Mm-hmm. Most technical?
Konami?
Okay. All right. I like that. I like that pick. I think that'll be good.
Who do you have?
Starlight Kid.
Okay, that's good.
I think her and Azumi are going to trade that award back and forth. I think that's like a neat, undercurrent story that's being told. And then what's the last one? Is there a last one? Oh, best match. Who do you got?
I'm going to say it's going to happen night 1, Mayu versus Giulia.
Nice. I don't mind that.
As much as I don't love Giulia.
As much as I don't love Giulia. Although I think we saw a better Giulia when she wrestled. Or when she wrestles quick, I think we see a better Giulia than when she's trying to wrestle main event.
She's improving. She's absolutely improving.
Oh, she certainly is. I just think that when she's not trying to be Hana, right?
Yeah.
She actually wrestles better. I just think she's got to get more comfortable in that role. I think for me, best bout is probably Momo versus Utami on the 15th. That's probably where I'm at.
That was my second pick, was those two wrestling each other. But yeah, I'm going to go outside the box and pick somebody I normally wouldn't pick to have the best match.
Look at you.
And Mayu, I mean, Mayu's Mayu. She can have great matches against just about anybody.
Mayu Tam is a sleeper on the last night. Like, again, the last night, you talk about, and here's what I love so much. One, this tournament, it's a little different than we're accustomed to because it's so long. Just because they're doing the Yokohama shows in the middle of it. That you get a little bit of, it gets a little tiresome. Right, there's a little bit of lethargicness that kind of sits in over time with tournaments. Right, you feel it. There's a word for it. I'm just blanking on what the word is, where you get a little unmotivated, right? And you kind of have to pick yourself back up and kind of trudge through those shows a little bit. And then once you do, you pick up. Well, these finals, man, from Starlight and Saya setting up maybe a number one contender, right, for the high speed to, Tora versus Saki, right? And is that going to be a leadership angle for Oedo Tai? To Kiona versus Momo and the whole story between those. I mean, Momo's never beat. Imagine this. Jungle's never beat Momo before. And Jungle has the opportunity to win the blue block by finally vanquishing her biggest foe in Momo Watanabe. And she doesn't, right? Or she does. And how great would that be? And all this is happening on the last night. Tam versus Mayu. Crazy, I just think there's a lot of on the 19th to look forward to, and it's going to be a hell of a ride to get there. Death versus Giulia. No, I'm kidding. They all can't be winners. But I do think that they're really setting up for a very interesting last night of the finals.
And I'm very spoiled. I'm going to say this. It's the first world problems. I'm going to say that, preface this. But it kills me not to be able to go this year. My goal was to go to every 5-star last day. Even though people think I hate Stardom, I fly to Japan to go see the 5-star finals. I was trying to do that. I've gone to 3 so far, and my goal was to go again this year, and it's got shut down because of goddamn COVID.
Goddamn COVID. I love that. Your shtick is that you hate Star. They're too commercialized. They're WWE. It's like,
I'll still go to WrestleMania.
I'm not. Yeah, right. All I'm gonna say about that is you're not wrong in the sense that from a production side, from a money backing side, there's some parallels that you can draw. But just because the argument can be made doesn't necessarily make it true. Right? There are big differences between the WWE and Stardom. Wait
until you see the ropes taken down. They do a brawl for all or something like that, a fight club with the Saki and Starlight.
If it's Shuri, then it's fine.
Yeah.
Right? If it's Shuri versus Tam and they have weapons, then it's fine. Then it's
Well,
just Micah. Or it's just my if you do Micah versus Shuri, well there you go. But if you bring Tam into it, now you've got Makai. And that's
yeah.
fine.
Just give me English subtitles so I can understand what they're doing.
I actually prefer it without it. I make my own people like to do commentary over New Japan and over Stardom, and I like to do it over Makai and just make these crazy stories up while we go.
We may have to do that at some point. Mystery Science Theater 2000 style, yeah.
That would be fun.
Just make up nonsense. And see if what we start with makes sense at the end or not.
Yeah, right. All about it.
And then they kiss at the end. It's like, yeah, it's not what we saw coming.
I can do that now. I'm retired.
That's right. Yeah, retired. You retired from having to edit. That's all you're retired from.
I do find myself on just as many podcasts as I was on before I retired, minus my own. So, but all I said was I never said I was retiring. That was Anthony over at Smart to Death said I was retiring. All I said was that I wasn't putting out weekly content for MPA anymore. And just like Barry Bonds, just like Barry Sanders, people took that as retirement, and I'm just going with it.
Did you ever play Madden football with Barry Sanders?
Of course. I mean, who else? What other running back you're going to play with?
Yeah,
it's Michael Vick in 04, and it's Barry Sanders every year.
Yeah, and just spin, run, spin, run.
You do that BS where you run 20 yards back on the left hash, and then you run all the way to the right side, and then you run all the way, and the stupid defense follows you in that circle pattern.
Yeah.
Oh my God, 90s Madden was the best. And the cheat codes where you could kick like 100-yard field goals.
Yep.
Why do they go away from all that?
These kids don't know today.
They don't understand these consarn it.
They're graphics and buttons now. Jeez.
Although I hear franchise mode sucks in Madden. Look, tangent.
We're good at those. All right, JPQ, where can we find you on social media, buddy?
You can't. I'm retired. No, you can find me at Big Paws on a Pup, and just daily musings about pretty much Joshi wrestling at this point. A lot of AJW classics.
I gotta jump in on that. I really do.
Dude, I'm telling you, it is so much fun. AJW Club every Monday during Raw in the Red Leaf Retrocast Discord, where we just watch AJW classics and we have fun talking about the greatest era in women's wrestling of all time. And it's fantastic and it's random. And we find the cards and we sometimes don't even know who's we certainly don't know who's wrestling prior. But then when we find the cards, we may not even know people on the card. But I can guarantee you it's going to be one of the best hours of wrestling that you're going to watch that week. And it comes from AJW every week. It's absolutely insane.
You want to see people pretend murder each other on Raw, or do you want to see people really murder each other on AJW?
I watch Bull squash Lioness Asuka in like a 3-4 minute match, and the way she won it, well, the way she injured her to the point to where she could win it was by doing her infamous leg drop off of the top rope onto her elbow. And she was so broken up because her elbow was smashed that it was like one pile driver powerbomb, and it was a pile driver powerbomb, and boom, the match was over. And she took out Lioness Asuka. Amazing, perfect booking.
They literally just beat the hell out of each other.
So much fun, dude. It literally is it is the greatest wrestling era of all time, especially for women. But I'll put it up against any of the greats. It can stand on its own. It's absolutely fantastic. If you're a fan of women's wrestling, if you're a fan of wrestling in general, AJW Classics, there's links all over to the Google Drives, all over Twitter and stuff like that. If not, we got it pinned in the Red Leaf Retrocast Discord. And again, every Monday night, we watch it together. So and we talk about it, and we just enjoy what greatness looks like in ring. So, and
Dave Meltzer's a pretty polarizing figure in wrestling, but he also talks about that era of wrestling, that women's wrestling being the greatest wrestling he's ever seen in his life. And just say what you want about his news or opinions, things like that, but he was a fan back then when he watched it. So, I mean, he's not wrong when he says that's the best wrestling ever.
Yeah, no, I mean, he's 100% correct. It's absurd how good. Today, we have the evolution in WWE of women's wrestling, and We've had the Diva era and the Attitude era, and we have the American Independent scene, which is coming up, and we have Stardom, and we have all these beautiful Joshi promotions that are doing all these great things right now. Nothing holds a candle to AJW and what they were able to do in the 80s and mid 90s.
Watch Chigusa Nagayo.
For real,
watch the crowd. Watch the crowd react to Chigusa Nagayo.
Watch her come out looking like Rambo.
Yeah.
Or Ryu Lee, or Little Mac. You know, it's like pick the boxer / MMA fighter from the 80s, and chances are Nagayo came out like them.
Yeah. Have you guys seen any of those boxing matches yet?
No, I mean I've seen like GIFs, and I think I've seen like one match in its entirety, but nothing on AJW Classics. Those are all ones that I went out and sought and find.
Okay, all right, yeah, those are pretty hardcore.
Well, that's the thing. Because we do it random, right? We just put it in the randomizer, and it's like 180 episodes. So you never know. You never know if you're going to get like the end. We watched a death match cage match from like 2000. Where I can't even tell you who the people were in it. I remember the names, but I'm losing them now. Ito was one of them. Where it was an elimination trios match. Death match, cage match. And at a couple of different points, Ito had it won if she would have just left the cage. But instead, she decided that it would be in her best interest to do double stomp after double stomp off the top of the cage onto some poor schmuck on the mat. You know, and that's not the greatest time towards the two, like when it was in its dying days, but it was, I still left an impression. I still talk about it all the time.
That's why we have JPQ on the podcast. Guys, thank you for downloading and listening this week. JPQ, thank you for being on the show.
Anytime.
It's time now for my talk with Ron Funches. Guys, we'll talk to you next week. Arigato gozaimasu.
I love wrestling. It's the best. People try to make you feel stupid for liking it. They're always like, hey, you know that thing you love with the pageantry and the fireworks and the golden belts. It's fake. And I'm supposed to be like, oh no, you've ripped my world asunder. I guess I'll just watch House now. But really, it should be like, well, no shit, it's fake. What type of psychopath would I have to be if I wanted it to be real?
All right, guys, I'm super excited to have on the show writer, actor, stand-up comedian. On September 5th, he's going to live stream a comedy special on YouTube for just $10. You can watch it. We'll put a link in the show notes. I'll tweet it out. He's a podcast host of Getting Better. And he's a father of a wonderful son. But most important of all those other things, he's a wrestling fan. I want to welcome to the show Ron Funches. Thanks for joining us on the Joshi Pod.
Thank you for having me. I mean, I probably would change around the order of what's most important, but I like what you like.
But for our purposes, the most important thing is that you're a wrestling fan.
Yeah, well, yeah, I am. Long time. You're recording in my office where I have my big wrestling figure collection. I mean, I've been a fan since I was 5 years old, and then you told me that you wanted to talking about the Joshi wrestlers and talk about the Japanese lady wrestlers, or you said I could talk about something else, and I said, you don't think I know Joshi wrestlers? You don't think I've been watching Io Shirai? You don't think I know Cassandra? You don't think I know not falling in love with Giulia like everybody else?
You love Giulia?
I love her.
So I met Ron many years ago at a PWG show. I think you were doing Undateable at the time, which I watched that show religiously. I really did. And I knew Ron from the show, and I took a picture with him there. I saw him do stand-up down here in San Diego as well. But it's kind of cool to see a wrestling fan become successful in Hollywood and continue to stand, quote unquote, stand, wrestling and still be a fan?
Yeah, well, I mean, I think that's just who I am as a person. Since I was a little kid, I just like what I like. And the things that I've liked, other people have made fun of since I was a little kid. I loved video games and stuff back when it was weird. Right now it's so for wrestling and video games, it's a lot more popular to like them. But when I was a little kid, you'd have to hide your little electronic boutique bag. You had to hide the fact that you were a big wrestling fan. And when I got older, I just got sick of that. And I was like, you either gonna like me for who I am and what I like, or don't like me at all. And I carry that with me now, especially if I got to go do stand up and do a lot of sets all over the place. I want to talk about the things I love, and that includes professional wrestling. So
on your special on the 5th, are you going to talk a little bit wrestling on that special?
We're going to talk a little bit of wrestling. I'm doing my live stream event with Chris Titus and his production company. Be on YouTube live streaming September 5th. You can get tickets right now at ronfunches.com. I will be talking a little bit about wrestling. I'll be talking a little bit about some Hulk Hogan. You can expect some wrestling things going on, as well as just my brand of weird upbeat comedy. So.
And getting better. I mean, if you guys haven't listened to his podcast, you guys really should. He's had wrestlers on there, Ethan Page, Steve Austin, several others. He's had Clark Duke on there, who I saw at wrestling shows, at PWG shows as well. So if you're a wrestling fan, definitely listen to Ron's podcast as well.
Yeah, I try to blend a lot of my loves with that podcast, because it's all about getting better. It's all about following your dreams and what you want to do and becoming more successful. And that, to me, isn't, exclusive to comedy, isn't exclusive to acting. I think pro wrestlers in particular know a lot about that, about pursuing something that people could make fun of them for or think you'll never make it, and then watching them reach the top of their industries, and in some cases like The Rock, and in other industries. And that's where I really liked my conversation with Stone Cold Steve Austin, because I got to talk to someone who at one point was legitimately one of the most famous people in the world. And then he had to retire and learn to do new things. And I like to learn what that's like, to go through what's it like to go through that. And we have some upcoming episodes with some great wrestlers and wrestling personalities. We have Conrad Thompson coming up in a couple of weeks. We have Tama Tonga coming. So I'm blending, and we mix that with people like Conan O'Brien. And so it's
my favorite episode I listened to was Anthony Jeselnik.
Oh, I thought that was going to be the next one out of my mouth, because that was absolutely one of my favorites, because it was just a good conversation. And I think a lot of people learned a lot more about Anthony from that conversation than they have from many other things.
Yeah, in this world of cancel culture right now, he's on a tightrope sometimes, it seems like. But yeah, your conversation with him, it was my favorite episode of all your episodes that I've listened to so far.
Thank you. I really appreciate that.
All right, so let's talk some more wrestling. That's why we're here, right? So you're a fan growing up. So you actually went to the Tokyo Dome this year, correct?
Yeah, I went, and I'm so glad I did. With how everything gets shut down, it's been one of my dreams since I was probably 12, 13 years old to go to a Wrestle Kingdom, and I never financially could, when I was growing up or when I was in my 20s. And a couple of years ago, I thought about going. I even made a plan to go with Conrad Thompson the year before last, and I got a gig and it fell through. And so this year, when they were saying Jushin Thunder Liger was retiring, and he's one of my favorite of all times. Growing up, when I grew up as a big fan of Power Rangers and things like that, like to see a live action Power Ranger wrestler, blew my mind when I was a kid. And so I was a fan of his for about 20 years now. And so when they said that his retirement match was going to be at that Tokyo Dome show at Wrestle Kingdom, I was like, I gotta go. I'll never get another chance to see him. I've seen him live in LA, but I've never seen him, it's completely different to see someone where there's their home, and it was one of the best experiences of my life, going to Tokyo and going to Kyoto and just Wrestle King. It's just such a different event. I'm used to being so loud and so everyone, being so aggressive, and to see the respect and the reverence that they have for these athletes was different, and I really liked it a lot.
So I ask a lot of the wrestlers from the States that have gone to Japan, what about the culture in Japan did you enjoy the most over there?
I really enjoyed just the fact that they embrace a lot of nerddom, like anything that you could have a passion for, they thoroughly embrace. I love wrestling, and they have a lot of they have I'm forgetting the name of that store, but they have like the best wrestling
Totocon.
Yes. So they have that, and like it was to me like a heaven. I could have spent 3 days in there, and then I went to a hip hop store that they had, and they had like just old jackets and T-shirts from Nas and Biggie, and also just niche rappers that I loved, and it's so that's what I really love, was just this embracing of like all culture here is accepted. If you like this, we embrace it, and I like that, and also just felt very safe and very just respectful. A lot of people just really being personal, respectful for each other with that limited amount of space. It really opened my eyes to how aggressive and assholey we can be here in America when they have much less space in Japan and still find a way to respect each other.
And they found a way to control somewhat the coronavirus over what we're doing here in this shit show of America.
Yeah, I know. Again, watching the shows recently and seeing the crowds back, and it made me happy to see it for them, but it really made me depressed for us, because it was like, wow, like if we were doing our job, I could be back at a fucking wrestling show.
I was in Tokyo in March, and I got on one of the last flights out of the country before they shut it down. It was crazy.
Yeah, I was in Hawaii when that happened.
Were you?
Yeah, it was my birthday. It was March 12th, and that's kind of when everything went to shit. I was getting ready to do a birthday show in Hawaii, and we had to cancel it and just fly back home real quick. But as sitting through this quarantine, two of the things that helped get me through it is the fact that I had that Hawaii trip, and the fact that I went to Japan. And I just remember I telling my fiance, I was like, she's not the biggest wrestling fan, but she's there with me. And I go, if you want nerd cred, baby, just anytime, just yell. When anyone's talking to you about wrestling, just go, oh, I was there when Minoru Suzuki choked out Jon Moxley at the Tokyo Dome.
So let's talk about your Joshi wrestling fandom now. So you have a Stardom World subscription.
I do.
So what I like, obviously I host the Joshi podcast, but I enjoy Joshi wrestling more than men's wrestling. What do you enjoy about Joshi wrestling?
What I enjoy about it, particularly with Stardom, is the that they kind of get rid of all this like fake aggressiveness. Like the storylines are much more simple. I like how they're all like, I'm just gonna do my best today.
It's the Ron Funches of wrestling right there.
Yeah. I'm just gonna do my best to get better, and I like that. And I also like that sometimes it's very funny. I like the team aspects that they did. I didn't really I watched a little bit. Like I saw, they had the Stardom matches at the opening at Wrestle Kingdom, and that's the first time I saw Hana Kimura, and first time I saw a lot of these women, and I knew. Just from that, I had never seen her a day before in my life, but I saw her and I was like, that lady's good. Like, that lady is a star. She is poised. And then I learned more about Hana Kimura and about that. And I was just starting to become a fan of hers when she passed. And that actually kind of, unfortunate as it may be, it's kind of what sparked my interest in just following more Joshi wrestling. Because I'm like, oh, I'm a big fan of Io Shirai. I'm a big fan of Kairi Sane. I'd like to see how they were when they were more younger and when they were local, and we all know like the WWE style usually waters down like some of our favorite performers. So I want to see them when they were kicking the most ass,
It's like watching Roderick Strong and Adam Cole and stuff in PWG versus in NXT.
Yeah, exactly. Or even like I tell my friends who are like flip out over these Donovan Dijak Keith Lee matches, and I'm like, man, you haven't seen what they can really do. Like, saw them in PWG. It was one of the best matches I saw in my life.
Yeah, Resita's like the Holy Grail. I guess it doesn't exist anymore. So, but it was like, back in the day when I was in Resita watching these matches,
Yeah, and I feel so lucky to have that, because I kind of I never had that in the ECW days. I never went to any ECW shows, but like now I thoroughly, when I watch AEW, when I watch these NXT, I go like, oh, I know where this style came from. I know who they're emulating off of this, because I've been watching these people come up for years. That's why I love Sami Zayn so much, because I met him as El Generico, and when you see a guy bust his ass and have a great match, and then after the match, after the show's over, he's one of the people help break down the chairs, you're like, I want to watch this. I want this guy to succeed,
Yeah. So who are some of your favorite Joshi wrestlers you see on Stardom World?
Oh, okay. I'll be happy to tell you. Of course, it was Hannah before she died. I'm really into Giulia.
I'm not into Giulia, but okay.
Why don't you like Giulia?
I think she's being pushed too far, too fast. I've compared her to Baron Corbin of WWE, and people like have a fit when I can compare her to Baron Corbin.
I think you're dead wrong, because Baron Corbin, I mean, he's okay. I mean, I don't hate him. I do agree with you that he gets pushed away too much. But as far as Giulia has such a great look. Like, she's so beautiful, and she's also has great skill set. So I just thoroughly disagree with you on that.
That's okay to disagree with me. You can be wrong. It's fine. I wanted this interview. I wanted one of those laughs, and I got that laugh. So I accomplished my goal. I got a Ron Funches laugh.
Now unfortunately I'm stalling while I try to, because again, I'm a newbie fan, and I'm trying to remember my favorite. This is the thing I don't like about Stardom, is that as soon as I start liking someone, they retire. Yeah. And I don't like that at all. Like, I don't understand that at all. So there was the woman who was the head of the evil group, whose also name I can't remember right now.
Oedo Ties?
Yeah. Or Odin Tai, right?
Oedo Tai, yeah.
Okay, yeah. The leader of that before now. What was her name?
Kagetsu. Gosh.
Yes, Kagetsu.
My memory is the worst. Sorry.
Kagetsu. She was my absolute freaking favorite, because she's just a badass, no nonsense. She's funny, but she's also terrifying, and I just believed her. And then I liked that she left to go have be the wife of another wrestler and just hang out and be retired. I love that. But she was my absolute favorite once I started getting into Stardom and watching more, because I just liked how aggressive she was.
Yeah, and what I like about Joshi wrestling too is they beat the piss out of each other sometimes, the forearms and chops and all that stuff. It's like it's more aggressive than the men.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Yeah, they come at you very strong style, I guess, very stiff. Also, of course, I like Momo, and I like Konami. I love Konami. Yes.
Have you seen Mayu Iwatani wrestle yet? The champion?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Of course. That she needs to not be even sad. She is a staple.
Yeah, she's the face of Stardom. So I consider Stardom the gateway drug into other Joshi wrestling. So I need to get Ron Funches into starting watching I need to get you out of Stardom and go on to other things. And
I'm open to it. I just need subtitles. I gotta have subtitles or something so I can follow along. That's the thing I liked about Stardom, is that they would give me the little intros so I could follow along, and then the match would just be in Japanese. But I was like, okay, at least I know what's going on, which is usually just that they wanted to do their best. But
and saying yes sir at the end and going wrestling.
Yeah.
Now it's kind of nice right now. A lot of the companies are starting to try to, I think because of COVID and the resources, the money over there is not quite what it was, because they can't put on live shows, that they've been investing in English subtitles and commentary, things like that. So yeah, we're going to get you, Ron. We're going to get you into watching some Ice Ribbon and some other company, Tokyo Joshi Pro as well.
Okay, I'm open to it. Send me a playlist of your favorites. I'll watch it. Trust me.
You need to see Maki Ito one time in your life. I'm going to send you a link to the interview I did with her as well. She does it in English. She's a little foul-mouthed, idol-looking dancing girl. You'll love her. And then Choco Pro or Gato Move. I'm going to introduce you to Gato Move as well. They wrestle in a little. It almost looks like apartment wrestling. There's no ring. I think you'd love that as well.
I love all types of wrestling, and I'm really diverse in the wrestling I watch. Of course, I think the thing I watch the least now is WWE. That's probably, I usually only catch a pay-per-view or if I'm excited about it. But, I watch a lot of AEW. I watch Stardom. I watch GCW. I have, an IWTV subscription. So trust me, if you got good wrestling, especially a wrestler I never heard of, I'm about it.
I'm going to teach you who Lulu Pencil is.
I know Lulu Pencil.
Oh, you know Lulu. Oh, she's the sweetest. She's the best.
Yeah, no, I don't. I don't know her, but I've heard that name and I've seen a couple matches. Yeah, she seems great.
Yeah, she's awesome. So, you tried to wrestle, or you went to training for wrestling for a while at Santino Bros in Los Angeles, right?
Yeah, I went to Santino Brothers for about 3 months because when I was young, there's only two passions I really have: comedy and wrestling. And I was like, I'm doing good in comedy. Before I get too old, let me see if wrestling could be a thing I could try. I had a friend who had passed away pretty suddenly and young, and it just one of those things that reminds you that life isn't forever. And so I was like, if I want to try this, I should probably do it before I turn 40. So I went to Santino Brothers. I got trained by Brody King and Tyler Bateman and several other trainers, names who I'm forgetting right now. I'm trying to remember because it's gonna make me angry, make them angry.
Was Ruby one of the trainers there?
No, Ruby wasn't there when I was there, but it was another one of the Killer Bays, Heather Monroe.
Heather Monroe. Yep.
Yeah, she was also a great trainer there, and it was just great. I'd never done any team sports or any type of high school sports. And so this was my first chance to kind of go in there, shake hands with people, learn sportsmanship. And then also, when I first started stand-up, even though I wasn't great and I didn't have much experience, I knew I was I'm kind of naturally good at this. I have some type of kin to this. But with wrestling, it was the exact opposite. I did not know what I was doing. I was not naturally athletic. And so it was just kind of this thing I had to struggle through for a few months. And I was proud I did, but I also knew that it was more likely I was going to hurt myself than ever end up signed anywhere. So after a few months, I had to just go back to the stand-em-ups.
So your stand-up special, Giggle Fit, it's available on YouTube right now on the Comedy Central page. And what I noticed a lot about you is you look very dapper on the stand-up special.
Thank you.
And two, you've had quite the body transformation from when I first met you at PWG to now. Mm-hmm. What was the impetus of you wanting to change your health?
Well, it was just a lot of my life was changing and things are getting better. And I wasn't necessarily the most motivated person when I was in my teens and 20s. And I ended up on Undateable on the show. And I was just... Also, I was having health issues. I was getting, sleep apnea, things like that. My mom's also a nurse, and she made it known that she was concerned for me. And I remember one time she came for Christmas, and she's buying me some clothes, and she just flat out told me that it hurt her heart to have to buy me clothes that size. And so it was a multiple of things going on, and a lot of it did have to do with me being on TV. And I was like, if I've got on a sitcom and I'm not even taking care of myself and I don't even know what I'm doing, what if I buckle down? What if I try my hardest, take care of myself? How far can I push these gifts? And that just became a big part of it. And truly, it's very shocking. I was always a big guy, but pretty, still somewhat athletic, definitely charming, still having sex with ladies. But when
very handsome.
Yeah, still very handsome. But when I saw myself on TV, it was the first time I had to confront myself and be like, wow, you're big. You don't look healthy. Is what I had to look at myself and be like, I don't look healthy. So I got a trainer and I started changing my diet completely from eating Philly cheesesteaks and all my wrestling foods and all that to now a lot of chicken breasts and egg whites, and I started eating more like a wrestler and less like a wrestling fan, even though that's probably a jerky thing to say that people are mad at now.
But it's true. It's true. We eat pizza, we drink beer, right?
Yeah, no, that's one of the things I've often talked about with wrestlers and stuff. It's like, besides maybe football, there is no bigger discrepancy between the people who perform the art and the people who watch the art as pro wrestling. You go to a pro wrestling crowd, either they're malnourished or they're overnourished. And I think more wrestling fans should take pride in themselves and in who they are, and especially if they love wrestling. That's the thing that's really got me into. A lot of times I'll only watch like NXT or AEW while I'm on the treadmill, because then it makes me feel like I'm doing something, and it's not as boring, Not that I'm trying, you be who you are. I'm not trying to force anyone to change themselves, but I think just having self-pride and pride in being a wrestling fan and pride in your health, they go hand in hand.
Yeah, I think there's no problem in suggesting people get healthier. That's a human thing to do. I'm not saying you got to get skinny or you got to get jacked or anything, but just get healthier mentally, physically, every which way.
Yeah, especially now, knowing that we have to wait this time out, things are going to be rough for at least a year or two, or who knows. And so you better get your health together so you can outlast it, and we can get back to watching wrestling shows. I feel like this year owes me several wrestling shows now.
I'm down in San Diego, so if you're ever down this way, I need to take you to Tijuana to a wrestling show down there.
Yeah, please. I go to San Diego and go down. I've had my Lucha Libre tacos down there.
Have you gone to Tijuana and watched wrestling yet?
No, never. I've never. I'd love to.
You've got to. It's a whole. I mean, I've been to Japan. I've watched wrestling. I've been to the States. I've watched wrestling. I've been to Mexico. It's amazing. All three places are amazing, and all three places are amazing for different reasons. So yeah, it's one of the bucket list things I think you need to cross off.
Yeah, I never thought about that, but I love it. They run AAA shows over there.
They do, yeah, and then they have the crash shows with like Phoenix and Pentagon, and those guys will go just absolute bonkers down there, like even crazier than we saw in PWG or AEW.
Oh, I love that. Yeah, I mean, watching Pentagon and when he was in Lucha Underground, he was my favorite wrestler. I'm waiting for them to break them up in AEW, because I think they got 2 single stars that they have in a tag team right now, and I think they both could be at the top of that division. I can see Phoenix with the TNT title, and I can see Pentagon with that world title.
Yeah, I think Phoenix is one of the best guys in the world. But yeah, down in Tijuana, they don't care about getting sued, so they're flying into the crowd, and it's pretty crazy down there. So it's a whole lot of fun.
Yeah, no, I'd love to see that, please.
So, Ron, once again, tell us about your special on September 5th.
Yeah, I'm doing a live stream comedy event on YouTube. You can watch it there. It'll be coming out September 5th. It'll be me, my best friends, Blair Saki and Gabe Dinger, doing our new material that I've been working on since Giggle Fit. You can get tickets right now at ronfunches.com. They're only $10 for general admission. There's a VIP ticket as well that includes an after show Zoom hangout that we'll be doing. I'll definitely be talking some wrestling, but if you get a chance, if you don't know who I am, just check out my last special, Giggle Fit, on YouTube, on the Comedy Central YouTube page. It's directed by Bobcat Goldthwait. It features Ric Flair. So I think if you watch that, you'll understand that I am a true blue wrestling fan, and I'm fucking hilarious. And then that'll make you want to buy my new special, which will be coming out September 5th. So I hope you watch both.
May I ask you one more thing before we wrap it up here?
Of course.
Your son is autistic, correct?
He is. He is on the autism spectrum. Yes.
I do a lot of volunteer work with autistic adults and children as well, and other special needs. Does he enjoy watching wrestling?
He enjoys it lightly. He has other interests. My son calls wrestling John Cena. That's what he refers to it as. He does like going to WWE events, pay-per-views, things of that nature, but mostly because he likes eating cotton candy and popcorn. So like if we can go to an event and he can get cotton candy and popcorn, he's in heaven. But I took him to a PWG show, and he told me never take him there again. That it was too adult.
I think one of the unspoken things in wrestling that I'm going to try to help get out there more is that how much people with autism or special needs, how much they enjoy wrestling and how much wrestling means to them. I have a niece that's special needs, and nobody talks about it. Nobody wants to bring it up, I don't think. And I think it needs to be brought up more often.
No, I agree with you. And just that, to tell you the truth, that's what turned my views around on John Cena. I used to be a big John Cena hater, just like most, men that are wrestling fans. And then one day I was sitting in a show, and I think I was in some booth from some agency. I had stolen tickets that they didn't care about. And so I see below me, there's a group of like disabled children and adults. And when John Cena's music hit and the way these kids reacted to him as if he was a true life superhero, I was like, oh, I see 100% why they never turned him heel. I see 100% why he stayed who he was. It wasn't about the storylines. It wasn't about me. It was about the fact that to a lot of kids and to a lot of people with special needs, he represents, again, he's the reason why, there's a reason why my son calls wrestling John Cena, because to him, that's the most important part of wrestling. And to him, that's the superhero. To him, that's the representation of strength and power and being a good person. And I think that John Cena has been, and all the Make-A-Wish things he's done, I think he's a wonderful human. And I appreciate the things he's done. As a father of someone with autism, I think he does not get enough respect.
Yeah, I own every single John Cena t-shirt because of that as well. I was a hater too, but he just does so many things right. He says the right things. He lives the right way. He treats people the right way, and you got to respect it. I caught so much shit wearing a John Cena t-shirt to a PWG show once, by the way.
Oh, I will imagine. But that's what makes it fun. That's what makes it fun.
Yeah, but no, I respect that man so much, and I respect you, Ron, for being a wonderful father and a wonderful entertainer. And again, I can't thank you enough for the time you're spending with us here. And I'm gonna send you a list of some Joshi matches you need to watch.
Please, I'm on board. Get me deeper in. I'm aware. I'm only currently watching the WWE of Joshi wrestling, and get me deeper in. I'm loving what I watch. So please, let's do it.
Yeah, you got to watch more than Giulia. Come on, man. Ron, thank you so much for your time, buddy.
Oh, it's a pleasure. Thank you for having me.